very much for being back. And if you just joined us, it's still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get talking with our main conversation for today. President Bola Tinubu has described the recent defection of Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborowori, former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, and the entire People's Democratic Party (PDP) structure in Delta State to the All Progressive Congress (APC) as an unparalleled political event in Nigeria's history. Speaking at the official defection ceremony in Asaba, Tinubu referred to the development as a political tsunami that has redefined the political landscape of the South-South region of Nigeria. The president emphasized the magnitude of the shift, noting that the movement included the governor, his entire cabinet, all members of the National Assembly from the state, and 500 councillors across the 25 local government areas. He praised the unity between Okowa and Oborowori, highlighting their collaboration as a model for political leadership. Governor Oborowori, in his remarks, stated that the decision to join the APC was driven by a commitment to align Delta State with the federal government for the benefit of its citizens. He asserted that more governors are likely to follow suit, indicating a broader realignment ahead of the 2027 general elections. But however, not all political figures view this defection as significant. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasser El-Rufai dismissed the impact of high-profile defections, arguing that they are often exaggerated and do not necessarily translate to electoral success. He emphasized that political power ultimately resides with the electorates, not with individual politicians. Awesome. But let's get talking. I still have with us Emeka Amadunago. Emeka, thank you so very much for being around.
Thank you very much.
So now, let's get, of course, into the nitty-gritty of this particular matter. It's becoming the hottest news coming from Nigeria. But of course, it is not new. Just before we got into the studio, we were, of course, talking about the history of defections, especially with the PDP, and how that at some point the PDP had about 28 states
all
to itself. And at that time, it felt like the PDP was the numero uno in Africa when it comes to political, strategy and understanding. But today, the PDP are the ones struggling for breath right now. The APC are taking lead. Speak to us.
Yeah, that's it. They pretend that they think that maybe because we've had 26 years of democracy, so we've forgotten. We are suffering memory loss. No, our brains are very sharp. You see, at inception, at the return of democracy in 1999, there were 3 political parties. Interestingly, the constitutions of the 3 political parties were written by one man, Chief Bola Tinubu. The constitutions of the 3. PDP, People's Democratic Party, All Nigeria People's Party, and Alliance for Democracy were written by one man.
Really?
There are many stories that will be told about this democracy at the right time. Then they continued. PDP, won a number of states around the country. AD had 6 states of the Southwest. I think they also had Kwara State, if I'm not mistaken. AMPP controlled largely the Northwest. Then PDP had
North Central,
Southeast, South.
Yeah, South. Yeah.
And I think Northeast. Yes. So along the line, Obasanjo in 2003 outsmarted 5 Alliance for Democracy governors in the Southwest. He actually met with them and told them that that they should not support the party, to present a presidential candidate. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi was touted as the likely presidential candidate for AD in 2003. But somehow, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi and Chief Bola Tinubu were touted. If you remember in 1999, Chief Olufalaye was the joint candidate of the All People's Party and the AD in 1999. Before, I think by 2002, APP now became All Nigeria People's Party. So, well, somehow, I think those governors believed Obasanjo.
The Southwest governors, that is.
The Southwest governors, and he eased them off. But Tinubu, being very smart, he had an independent campaign group, which was separate from the party, the party's campaign group.
Okay.
Then Tinubu broke ranks with the Afenifere, then the Afenifere social political group, He broke ranks with them because he felt that they were not likely to help his second term ambition. So, those other governors were swept off. Tinubu was not swept off because there were a number of things. He was able to master the environment. If you remember on the day of the election, soldiers were deployed in Lagos. Soldiers were deployed in Lagos. I went around, I saw the soldiers. But
in 2023,
in 2003 governorship election, yes.
Yeah, 2003. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but somehow there was the violence that was expected didn't happen. So Tinubu won. Obasanjo didn't like that. But the interesting thing was that the governorship candidate presented by the PDP in Lagos couldn't match Tinubu.
And who was that?
By then, the PDP, Tinubu had sufficiently, watered down the influence of the PDP in Lagos State. Sorry, it was by 2007.
Okay.
That the candidate then couldn't, because remember, Funshaw Williams was killed. So Tinubu won a second term. Now, if we go up to the national level, Obasanjo wanted a second term, but some people were pushing his deputy then, Atiku Abubakar, to run, against him. So there was a report that Obasanjo knelt down and begged the governors to support him. If you remember, the governors like James Ibori spearheaded that. Some other governors, in South and all of that. So that made Obasanjo relent, made him determined to deal decisively with those governors. So that was when governors now became powerful, more powerful than their parties. Because if you remember the Second Republic, in the Second Republic, the party was supreme.
Yes, very well.
In the Third Republic, yes, governors became somewhat powerful because they were the ones that determined MK Abiola as the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party. Then King Gibe as his running mate, was governors. So by the Fourth Republic, 2003, they had become entrenched, more powerful than the party. So gradually, there was a time it was like the PDP was sweeping, because then there were different kinds of electoral malpractices.
Because that was when the ballot snatching thing,
was only ballot snatching,
was really
delegate substitution, a case whereby you are elected as a delegate, but when you go to the gate of the primary, they call Henry Gwebike, you step up, and somebody looks at you, you see some thugs looking at you. What are you doing here? Get out of this place. Right before your eyes, you see another person
walking on my behalf.
Walking in as Henry Gwebike.
Really?
Let me be frank with you. PDP did a lot of damage to the electoral system of this country. That is why they are suffering what they are suffering. They damaged the electoral system, the judicial system. They damaged a lot of things. A lot of things. They damaged a lot of things. And it's going to take years. Because look at the issue of defection. They made it so complex that today you saw what the Supreme Court ruled now. That defection, you have to look at the membership register of a party to determine where legislators are. I mean, look at that. Then, at the end of the day, it looked like Nigeria was going to have a one-party state. People were shouting at that time, because that was why before 2003 election, you found out that there was this clamor for a multi-party system, that the three parties were not enough. So that's when you now had APGA and the rest of them. National Conscience Party, Chief Ganifa Emi and others. So, then, you now found out that the PDP held sway. So that by 2007, President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, who won the election, actually admitted that the election was flawed. Because if you remember, before that 2007 election, Obasanjo, the president, was quoted as saying that the election will be do or die.
Yes.
And I think it was a chieftain of the party who said that they will match their opponents dollar for dollar, pound for pound. I think one of their chieftains from Oyo State, that they will match their opponents dollar for dollar, pound for pound. So PDP became the dominant party. As a matter of fact, they could have wiped off other parties. If not that people within PDP were also maintaining alliance, midnight alliances with the other parties, such that, they instigated the parties to oppose certain things that were against their own interests. Things like primaries, selection of candidates. So you now saw that if somebody ran for primaries, or, participated in primaries of one party and didn't get the ticket, he would jump to the other party. But that was corrected, later, in later years, that once you participate in the primaries of one party, you cannot go to another party to participate. That's why you see, like the recent case in Anambra, where Sir Paul Ume, who was started as the front runner in APC, resigned from the party when it was clear that he was not going to pick the ticket. So, along the line, AD metamorphosed into AC, on whose ticket Atiku Abubakar, Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ran for president in 2007. Then later, by 2011, it was now ACN, on whose ticket Nuhu Ribadu, who is now a national security advisor, ran for president and won only one state, Osun State. So, by 2013, April 2013, APC was born, which was part of ABGA, which was the whole of ACN, which was the whole of AMPP, and then the whole of CPC. That was Buhari's party, yes. Congress for Progressive Change, was born in April 2013. So, that was in April. By November, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar led 5 PDP governors to APC, which turned out to be...
When? 2013? 13, okay.
Yes, 2013, November. I was in Abuja that day, the day they defected, which turned out to be a big miscalculation.
On the part of Atiku Abubakar?
Because they had expected, even, there was pressure on Jonathan not to run. That this was the turn of the North. This was the turn of the North. Unfortunately, Yar'Adua died May 5, 2010. And then Jonathan became president, through induction of necessity.
Yes.
So
but ran for the first time, yes, and won. So it was the second?
No, he was not told. There's a law now that if you succeed your principal, if you're a deputy, succeed your principal, you can only run once.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
No more. There's a law now.
Okay.
So I wish that law was in place at that time. Jonathan
would have just served his
completed
his bosses
2015 and then
ran once.
maybe APC wouldn't have been born.
Yes.
Maybe PDP would have,
because
yes. Remember one of their chairmen then, Chief Vincent Ogbulafo, said that the PDP will be in power for 60 years. Yeah. So they moved. By the following year, more PDP Saraki Saraki moved with a lot of people to PDP.
To APC.
To APC. Yes. So, if you remember also, a part of PDP called New PDP, they moved to APC. So, the sad thing was that Atiku Abubakar made a big miscalculation. If he had remained in PDP, perhaps he would have worked out a deal with Jonathan. Because politics is all about interests. There's nothing personal in it, even though it was the turn of the North. But, well, like some people were saying, it was the turn of the North in PDP.
Yes, not
in
any other
APC,
party, yeah.
not in ABGA.
So which means the APC would have still
Not
fronted someone.
Yeah,
They would have still been a home run.
it wasn't there was nothing. It wasn't written in the constitution.
Yes.
By the way, zoning is not in the constitution. Power shift is not in the constitution. Rotation is not in the constitution. So, but Jonathan refused. He refused to step down, and then he was defeated in 2015. After that, PDP ran into a big storm, big political storm. But it was still being sustained by 3 governors. Wike, Mimiko, and Fayose was being sustained by them. So when they brought in Alimodu Sherif, former governor of Borno State, as the interim chairman, but along the line, he now tried to become more powerful than the people who went to bring him. Like they say on the street, help me hold am. No be say, na your own. So they retrieved the party from him and put Makerfi, former governor of Kaduna State. They put Makerfi there. And then gradually, the party now began to recover. And then people like Atiku, later, they moved back to PDP when they couldn't make a headway in APC. Because, by the way, Atiku should have read the barometer. Buhari was the most popular northern politician at that time. Buhari had run from 2003, had been running in election, presidential elections. Yes. And he still managed to get 12 million. So what he needed was an inroad into the south. Just get like maybe another 2 or 3 million. And then he would win. And that was why there was that coalition with Tinubu. People like Rocha Sokorocha.
Yes.
So, South-South, yes. Some South-South.
And Amechi.
And Amechi, yes, thank you.
Who really did the big work?
They came together. Even Firemi, too, although Firemi was in Tinubu's camp then. So, along the line, the coalition succeeded, put Buhari in power in 2015. But by 2019, they began to see that this man wasn't even actually what they thought. Because don't forget, 2015, Atiku, Kwankwaso, Nda Isaiah, the publisher of Leadership newspaper, who is late now, they ran against Buhari, but they were defeated. The convention at Onikon Stadium in Lagos. So Buhari won 2015. Atiku remained in the party. Now, there were rumors that Buhari might die and all of that. So maybe they remain hoping that Buhari will die so that they will become president, one thing or the other. But because there was no need, there was no point Atiku moving to APC. Because he should have read the political barometer. That Buhari was the most popular politician from the north. And that there was no way he could hope to wrest the presidential ticket from Buhari inside APC. If he had remained in PDP, perhaps he would have been able to maybe, okay, I agree with Jonathan. Okay,
well, if he had stayed back with the PPDP, what that meant was a good Lord Jonathan would have won his second term.
Possibly.
And which still makes
it would have been a deal.
A very big, difficult.
Yeah, no. Who stay? You mean Atiku stay?
Atiku stay.
No, they would have reached a deal. That's why I said politics is my interest. They would have reached a deal. That okay, let me back you for 2015, but you will back me for 2019. You will back me for 2019. Let me back you for 2015. You will back me for 2019. And which somehow maybe would have worked out. Because by then, even by 2015, Buhari was even getting tired. If you remember, there was a press conference now where he shed tears. Where he was shedding tears now. So Buhari himself would have dropped out of the presidential race. And then it would have been a clear road for Atiku Abubakar. But again, you saw that the election of 2015, presidential election, was postponed by 6 weeks. You know, because Jonathan got mercenaries from South Africa to clear Boko Haram. But what the APC people were pushing, even till today, they said that Jonathan deliberately suppressed votes in those Boko Haram areas so that his own votes will reflect better. But at the end of the day, not that to be a lie, but they are still sustaining that lie till today. They are still sustaining that lie till today. So, when you look at it, you see that, you know, this defection is just like history repeating itself. The defection is not any tsunami. It is a case of Governor Borewori trying to save himself and his predecessor, Ifeanyi Okowa. That is it. And that is why they moved with all the House of Assembly. Because, look, help me and I help you.
Because he was actually the Speaker of the House of the State House of Assembly. So he knows more.
And there are revelations, yes.
And of course.
And there are revelations. And you don't even know whether this defection was even agreed with some people in PDP.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, just move. Shebi is not, just move. But at heart, he may still be PDP.
Yes.
At heart. True. Because look at the case of Ifeanyi Oba, who defected to APC. After, you know, he was frustrated, I think in PDP. And then
the late Ifeanyi Oba.
The late Ifeanyi Oba, yes, who was representing Anambra South. He now formed his own party, YPP, Young Progressive Party, which he used to get to the Senate and put some people here and there in positions, elected positions. He defected to APC because he had planned to run for governor. But he still left his lieutenants in YPP.
And who are controlling them now?
They didn't wait, hold on, I'm coming to something. They didn't follow him to APC. It was a game plan now. It was a game plan. Because in the 2023 election, some YPP produced some candidates.
Okay.
YPP produced some people, you know, that went to
the house.
The house.
Okay.
APC couldn't produce anybody. Why? If you knew about the duality, you know, of political aspiration, don't burn your bridges, because you may need to cross those bridges again. So now the YPP and APC structure that was known as the Ikemba structure some months ago moved to APGA to support Governor Chukwuma Soludo. The APC governorship candidate, Nicholas Ukachukwu, tried his best to get that Ikemba structure.
Those YPP?
They refused because they had actually reached an understanding with Sapo Chukwuma that if he matched the governorship candidate of APC, they were going to move with him. You saw Ifeanyi Oba played a smart one, you know. He still kept his YPP people, you know. And so, after he died, the clear indication was that his Ikemba group was going to move to APC if Sir Paul Chukwuma was given the governorship ticket in Anambra State, of APC in Anambra State. But he resigned and dropped out of the governorship race. So Sir Nicholas Ukachukwu stepped up and became the candidate. Excuse me. So the group was already, you know, INEC has not yet conducted a by-election to fill Ifeanyi Oba's seat. So there are front runners, you know. So the group started flirting with one of the front runners, Chief Ebuka Onunkwo, who owns a Seahorse, you know, lubricant. So they've been flirting with him, and he's an Afghan man. So it was becoming clearer that this group was eyeing Abga.
Okay.
So gradually, after Sapo Chukwuma dropped out of the race, they moved to Abga and declared full support for Governor Chukwuma Soludo. And that is a major fault because Ifeanyi Oba reached out to so many people.
So if he
in fact, if you look at it,
if he was to be alive today, would he have won? He would have won clearly.
Well,
with the APC?
Well, you know, APC is not liked in Anambra.
It is not light, but with the way things are
And
going
no,
now,
no.
it's
It would have
easy
been difficult to, because Soludo has Soludo is playing a kind of game that makes him favored by Abuja. Then it would have been difficult for Ifeanyi Ubah to defeat Soludo.
Really?
Take it from me, it's my state.
With the APC?
It's my state, yes. It would have been difficult because Soludo also did his best to checkmate Ifeanyi Ubah. He did some things here and there to checkmate him. So, you know, of course, Soludo is one kick and follow kind of politician. He has seen that one of the things that makes Aso Rock happy is criticize P2B. So any small opportunity, even though I learned that another Southeast governor, that at a meeting, that there was a meeting where Soludo was talking bitterly about P2B, and then a governor, Southeast governor, tapped him on the knee and spoke in Igbo to him. I said, stop this. There's one Igbo proverb that if you're angry with your brother or your sister, it should not get to your bone. It should not get into your sinews. Yes. That this thing is a game. We're all playing it. Why is he angry with P2B? Simple. When he was running, P2B said, it is not your turn. It's not the turn of Anambra South to run. Let's give it to Anambra North. Let's give this governorship to Anambra North.
You know he had contested with P2B back in the days.
Yes. And then he thought that P2B would back him for, he said, no, that I believe in equity. Let Anambra South go. And so, P2B wanted his SSG then, Oselu Kalbaze, to run. But somehow, Victor Ume, who was the party chairman, you know, played a smart one on, a fast one on P2B. That when it was remaining just maybe less than 24 hours to submit the name of the candidate, he was forced to submit Obiano's name. He was forced to submit Obiano's name. There was a way the whole thing played out. He was forced to submit Obiano's name. Obiano from Anambra North. And of course, Soludo didn't like that because P2B virtually, you know,
Soludo
pushed
is
him
where?
out.
Soludo
From Anambra South.
Oh, okay.
From Anambra South.
And what turn was it supposed to go to?
Well,
who was supposed to have it at the time?
Well, the thing is this: the way it was then. I'll throw back to 1999 when Mbadinoju, Dr. Chinwoke Mbadinoju from Ihiala in Anambra, from Uli, in Anambra South, you know, he ran. He was there for one term, but he was having problems with then President Olusegun Obasanjo. So he didn't get a second term. Then Ngige of PDP too, you know, came in from Anambra Central. He was, you know, helped into office by Chris Oba and his, you know, guys. So along the line, by 2003, he was thrown out. Ngige, Dr. Chris Ngige was thrown out. And then, what's his name, P2B came on board. You know, because actually it was said that P2B won that election.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that P2B won the election.
Against Ngige? Of
2003, yes, against Ngige. But that it was manipulated. You know, INEC was accused of manipulating the election. You know, because P2B was just a new face in politics. By the way, if you remember, by then, APCA had become a political party by then. So, they had chosen a candidate. But what happened? Professor ABC Nwosu, former Minister of Health, took, you know, pushed. He convinced P2B to come into politics. He was a businessman then. He convinced him to come into politics. And then he now sold his candidacy to Ojukwu. So Ojukwu convinced the candidate then to step down for P2B. So the expectation was that, you know, the candidate of PDP in 2003 would have been from Anambra South, even if for one term, to enable Anambra South to complete 8 years. But he now moved to Anambra Central. P2B was there, he was impeached. His deputy, Virginia Etiaba, from Anambra South, from Nnewi, you know, was there for some time before P2B came back again. So somehow, Anambra South still, of course, came back, but P2B returned. And then there are expectations again that it was going to go to Anambra South to allow them to complete their term. But P2B preferred Anambra North,
Okay.
Because of his SSG. So, but it didn't work out. Somehow, it was Chief Willie Obiano that was pushed forward. So, Soludo really held that against P2B. And of course, he knows definitely that it's just an echo chamber. Because I hear again, he has started criticizing P2B, and it will work against him. He has been told many times that, look, P2B is well loved in the Southeast. No matter what you say about him, the people on the street, the electorate, they love him. In trying to please Abuja, be careful that you don't hurt yourself. Because take note that APC, insofar as they see that you are attacking P2B, they will use that on the street to tell the electorate, look at the man you are supporting. Look at the Soludo you are supporting. He's attacking your man, no? He's attacking your man. And the Labour Party, now P2B's party, they have a candidate in the election. So if Soludo does not play his game well, things might swing against him. It might swing against him. And, because even within his own party, he's been having a running battle with party leaders like Chekwa Sokore. If you saw what he went through, the battle he had, the battle he had with was it Edozie Njoku, who tried to, who grabbed the party from him at the time. Now he has called himself the leader of the party, and there's nothing like that in the Abga constitution. So there are a lot of these things that he changed party executives, the local government chairman that he called mayors. He was the one that imposed them on the people, and all of that. So at the end of the day, he is now trying to please Abuja by attacking P2B. But to be counterproductive, because the construction work he has been doing in Anambra has affected many people. Many buildings have been pulled down. And he said he won't pay compensation. So the whole situation is fluid now. People are thinking, should they support APC or should they support Labour Party? Because the man in PDP was just virtually, there was no candidate for PDP. Okay. But somehow some people just got together, just brought, was it Jude Ezenwafo, and just brought him in and said, run, and pick the ticket. So when you look at it, Nicholas Ukachukwu of APC is really trying to get to the grassroots, by using this stomach infrastructure tactics. There was a rumor after he won the ticket, APC ticket, that he will give 20,000, pay 20,000 for 7 months from April to November to a number of people in the state, per local government, and so people have started scrambling.
Well, I just truly hope that Abga, Chukuma, the doctor, the professor, would not
Chukuma
move like,
Soludo.
would not move like Oborowori, who of course
no, he can't. People have said that. People have said that, but
with the APC
but it's late.
In Delta State,
it's too
and
late.
still moved to join the
No, it's too. That's why you see that
Oborowori
moved after he won the election. Obiano, at the time, it was said that Obiano was going to move to APC, but he didn't move. All he just agreed with Buhari then was that, look, what do you want? Is it not 25%? Have at least 25% in Anambra. I'll guarantee it for you. I'll make sure that ABGA doesn't pose any serious threat to you in the presidential election. And that's what he did. So, in Soludo's case, Soludo cannot move now because he has already got a ticket. APC has already got a ticket, and he cannot move now until maybe after the governorship election in
and
November.
You feel the APC would love to backstab their candidate in favor of
that would be
ABGA?
difficult. That would be difficult because the SEC, the State Executive Committee, is under the control of Ukachukwu. That was why Val Ozigbo was shocked now. He came in thinking he had the support of
the one that moved from LP.
From LP.
To LP.
He thought he had the support of Sheyi Tinubu, Iyabo Tinubu Ojo, Hope Uzodinma and others. He thought he had their support. But Nicholas Ukachukwu had already taken charge of the State Working Committee before, and immediately, Ifeanyi Uba died, sorry, immediately Ifeanyi Uba died, Nicholas Ukachukwu moved in, because right now, APC doesn't have a clear leader of the party in Anambra State. Ngige, Dr. Chris Ngige, who was the leader at the time, has fallen out of favor with Tinubu. Andy Uba, who was also a leader at the time, has fallen out of favor with Tinubu. So, the vacancy has been there. Ifeanyi Uba occupied that vacancy, but he died. So, Nicholas Ukachukwu now, by taking charge of the state working committee, has become the de facto leader of the party in Anambra State.
But the questions remain if Ganduje and the rest might be in support of him.
Well, Ganduje himself, is he sitting comfortably? Is he sitting comfortably? He was just put there as a replacement. If they hold a national convention today, Ganduje will not win. Very likely will not win. Yes, because the APC governors are not in support of Ganduje. So whatever they are doing is just because of Tinubu. So, now, talking about the defection, we know it was to save their necks. Oborewari's necks, the neck of Oborewari and Okowa. It was just to save their necks. They say other governors are coming. Look, all of these things is about political interest. The man in Akwa Ibom, he has not been able to water down the influence of Senate President Chief Godswill Akpabio. Yeah. His predecessor and godfather,
Udom
Emmanuel, was able to withstand Akpabio.
Akpabio very well.
But Umoeno has not been able to withstand Akpabio because of the way he was selected. He was virtually foisted on the party by Udom Emmanuel. Yes. Yeah, so the key people who would have supported him have refused to give him support. So he now feels that, and the EFCC, allegedly at the instigation of Akpabio, has been after Udom Emmanuel. So he has not had time to control the party structure in the state. So that's why Umoeno has run to Akpabio to, seek refuge.
To see if he could balance everything.
So that he will not have any issue, so that he will have a smooth sail to a second term. But you see, there's one mistake these people are making, and which is the fact that politics is not about political parties in Nigeria. It's about individuals. And if you look at it, look at under the APC, Atiku beat governors to win the party's ticket, presidential ticket. How did he do that? How did he do that in 2023? How was he able to do that in 2023? Wike was contending. Tambuwa stepped down. The governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, was also contending. But Tambuwa stepped down for Atiku. And then Atiku carried the day. Atiku was not a governor. Carried the day.
All right,
so the thing is that governors, we may think that they are so powerful, but along the line, their influence has been largely watered down. Look at Oborewari saying he will get Tinubu 4 million votes. Somebody who got 360,000 votes in the last election. He's saying he will get, where will he get 4 million votes from? That's why they say that they're looking for a way for INEC to hold the 2027 election without PVCs. But all of those things will not help the country. They will not help the country. The introduction of PVC, BVAS, IREF was to take elections to a more sophisticated level. But you can't take us back to that point where you could hold elections without PVCs. You would just
it's more like doing the voice vote again.
You will totally destroy democracy. And they should take note of one thing. APC might be the ruling party today. Tomorrow, the tables
will turn.
Very
true. APC might be the ruling party today. Tomorrow is my turn. History is very repetitive. And if it could happen to the almighty PDP, who knows, it might equally happen to the APC. Would it happen 2027? Time will tell. But right here on Enterprise Television, we promise to bring you up-to-date analysis on some of the things that are happening today in Nigeria. The most important thing, like we always say, is good governance. We might play all the politics we would love to play by the books, theoretical. Some of them might be postulates also, but the most important thing is how does it reach to the least of us in Nigeria. That's the most important thing. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being part of our show today. We truly do appreciate you. All right, people, that's just the time we have. We'd love to say thank you to you once more for making it a day with us. Please do well to follow us if you may. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Ikwibike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.